Alright guys, today we're going to talk about one of the most well-respected deities from Greek myth, Artemis. Her story starts off with the sky god Zeus. Jesus Christ. Look man, who isn't a child of Zeus at this point? Anyway, one day Zeus was out here chilling with his feet up and he decided to go out and get the Titaness Leto pregnant. Now if you're not familiar with the sexual conquest of this character, Zeus fucked everybody, bro. I ain't gonna lie. This man was out here slanging meat like his life depended on it. The problem here is that Zeus already had a wife. This was known to be the goddess Hera, a major deity among their people who had ties to some fierce power. She was also his sister. But we're not even gonna delve into that type of foolery. Now when Zeus decided to go out and insert his penis inside these women, the main thing that Hera was known to do was terrorize the same mistresses that Zeus got himself involved with. In order to spite Zeus for getting her pregnant, Hera banned Leto from having her child at any place you could think of on Earth. What makes it even worse is that she sent out a dragon to chase Leto down and ensure that she couldn't have her children in peace. This put Leto in a bind. She was forced to migrate to the island of Delos, which was pretty much the only place that would accept the circumstance that she had going on. Here, she gave birth to the beloved and wholesome Artemis. However, it appears that Hera wasn't finished giving Leto a hard time. See, Leto wasn't just having Artemis, she was having two children, and the other child just so happened to still be on its way. Keeping that in mind, Hera decided to take her meddling a step further. She goes to the goddess of childbirth and tells her, "You are forbidden from helping Leto with this second child." Artemis, who was only a couple of days old at the time, couldn't just sit back and watch her mother go through this on her own. So, as a way to help her get through the situation, Artemis decided that she would be the one to help deliver the child instead. Her assistance turned out to be a success, and from it came her twin brother, Apollo. Time passes. Artemis is now around the age of 3, and she's sitting on the knee of Zeus asking him for some pretty big favors. You can even say that these favors were the foundation of how she wanted to live her life. Now, among the numerous amount of things that Artemis desired, one of the most important was a bow and arrow made by the Cyclops species. The reason being is that the Cyclops, among other things, were known for their expertise in craftsmanship. They made the thunderbolt for Zeus, they made the trident for Poseidon, and they made the helm of darkness for Hades. Soon enough, the Cyclops took heed of her request and hooked Artemis up with her very own golden bow. The bow itself being capable of inflicting disease or killing any female on contact. She then asked Zeus could she rule over the mountains where she would hone her skills and hunt down wild animals. During this time, she ventured through the wild with her hounds and some companions who would tend to these hounds whenever she was worn out. Her other wishes included becoming a bringer of light, remaining a virgin for the rest of her life, and being an overseer to the youth or women going through labor. When the Greek huntress Atalanta was abandoned in the wild by her father, Artemis was the one who nurtured Atalanta and kept her out of harm's way. But to no surprise, there is another side of Artemis as well. Later on down the road, the people of Thebes got together and threw a celebration in regard to the successful birth of Leto's children. This brings us to yet another hater. Niobe, who was queen of Thebes at the time, said, "This is nonsense. I'm the one with all the clout. I'm the one with all the kids. You guys should be worshiping me, the superior one." Now I'm not gonna sugarcoat what I'm about to say because we don't do that on this channel. And to be honest, I couldn't even if I wanted to. What I will say is that considering the events that took place before and after their birth, Artemis and Apollo were extremely protective of Mama Dukes. And as you can probably imagine, they were not thrilled by this disrespect. So they said, "Oh, we'll show you superior," and went out and killed each and every one of Niobe's children. Flawless victory. Artemis put down all the girls, Apollo put down all the boys. When the father found out what happened to his children, he killed himself. Then Zeus followed up this tragedy by turning Niobe into stone. Cause it wouldn't be a Greek myth if there wasn't at least one tragedy, am I right? That being said, Artemis could be as ruthless as she was forgiving if she deemed it necessary. This is also something that comes into play during her life. With Artemis pronouncing the claim of holding on to her virginity, there were a lot of guys who were out here trying to strip her of that title. This put her on the defense around most men because she figured they were up to no good anyway. A good example of this would be her encounter with the young hunter Actaeon. One day, Artemis was bathing in the woods, minding her own business. All of a sudden, Actaeon comes waltzing on by and happened to see her naked. Now, like any normal man his age, Actaeon was mesmerized. In his mind, it's like, man, them titties are looking right. And like any normal response to a creep, Artemis was pissed off. She then placed a curse on this man that denied him the right to ever speak again. And if he did talk, he would transform into a deer. I'm sure you can guess what happens next. A few moments later, he started to hear the sound of his hunting party and tried to get their attention. And he turned into a deer accordingly. But it gets worse. Since the hounds could no longer recognize him as their master, they turned against Actaeon and started chasing him down all the way through the woods. In a desperate attempt to salvage his own life, he looked up to the sky and begged the guys, "Please save me." And in response, the guys were like, "Nah." And Actaeon was devoured by his own hounds right there in the middle of the woods. Damn it, man. You would think with stories like this going around, guys would say, hey, maybe this might not be a good idea. But this guy was different. Here we enter Orion, the giant who was renowned for being a skilled huntsman and ended up becoming a good friend of Artemis. Now, I'm not sure what possessed him to make this ridiculous statement, but apparently Orion said that he would kill all the wild animals on Earth. Naturally, this pissed off the Earth goddess Gaia and motivated her to send out a giant scorpion to hunt him down. With no actual way to fight the scorpion back, Orion was forced to take his chances diving off into the sea. This is when Artemis's twin brother, Apollo, steps into the fray. Apollo was well aware of the potential Orion had to pipe out his sister. And after all this time of Artemis being a virgin, he wasn't about to allow Orion to convince her of breaking those values. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we like to call a cock block. So while Orion was out here trying to make his escape at sea, Apollo told Artemis, hey, I bet you can't hit that target out there in the water. Artemis was like, me? Me? You know what? Move out the way. She begins to aim down the target and releases her shot with all her might. But what she didn't know was that this target was indeed her good friend Orion, and she killed him on contact. At that moment, she grieved more than any other time in her life. Artemis took it upon herself to pay respect and have Orion turn into a constellation. Now, as a fate grand order, the two of them have been reunited. Artemis was able to lower her divine status and hijack Orion's position as a servant, making her the center of attention and making Orion, well, useless. But don't feel too bad. Prior to them meeting up in the real world, Orion had just been cured of a curse from violating another woman. And even though they've been reunited, the relationship is completely one-sided. To tell you the truth, I don't think Orion wants to be in this relationship at all. I don't know what his problem is. Take me instead. Anyway, ever since she's become a servant, Artemis has apparently went full yandere, and she could care less what anyone has to say about it, even if that person is Orion himself. That about wraps it up. If you enjoyed the video, please like it up so we can get this trending. Feel free to add information as you see fit, and let me know what you guys think about it. It's your boy Tsiah. I'm out.